Hi guys, welcome back. So for those of you who have watched the first two parts of the human behavior series, I did speak a little bit about what I was going to be talking about. I did talk about in the previous video that we were going to be speaking about difficult people in this one. So yeah, just before we were talking about how difficult people tend to they kind of zap all the positive energy sometimes that you have, and in turn you end up feeling very negative about, you know, the situation you might be in with that person or that person has got you into. But you were speaking about like energy, and I think that's really important. So I was saying to Shell that I've come across many difficult people in my life, but it's come in different forms, if you know what I mean. So yeah.
So maybe you want to talk about types of difficult people.
Types of difficult people.
I mean, so you have everyone has gone through situations where they're dealing with someone difficult, whether it be in school, in the workplace. You know, you might deal with someone who's overbearing, someone who's a bully, someone who lies a lot. Like, there's all sorts of types of people, you know. Even someone who maybe doesn't open up a lot, someone might find that difficult. It's like, I'm in this friendship or this relationship, this person doesn't open up, you might find that difficult. So
that's true.
There's loads of different types of difficulties that you face when you're face to face with another human being, and they're bringing their baggage to, when they become difficult, when they don't know how to leave their baggage outside of situations that you know doesn't really have anything to do with whatever you are dealing with. So sometimes it's you not being able to, you know, is it at work or school where they say, you know, you leave your baggage at the door?
Yeah,
and you come in and you.
Well, I think they do it probably at both, isn't it? Because like, for example, like you've you know, worked for many years in childcare, and you kind of say that when you go to that building, you have to kind of forget all the things that, you know, whether it be negative or positive sometimes, and leave those things at the door, because it can interrupt whatever is going on in the classroom. So if we're talking about bad energy, if you're bringing that bad energy into the room, like my drama teacher used to always say, like, I don't really, not being rude, but don't really care what's been going on outside in the playground or what happened in your last lesson. It's about what I'm teaching you now, and, you know, to not bring that bad energy in, because sometimes it does affect the people that are in the class, because now they want to know what's wrong with you, or now they're not completely focused. So sometimes that can be seen as difficult, because if you're one that can't kind of also let things go, especially in that kind of setting, you can interrupt the class. So I completely understand when my teacher used to say things like that, and it can be hard, but it is manageable. So yeah, I think it kind of ties into, you know, the happiness, and if you want to be happy, you're going to try and do the most that you can to eradicate it. But like you were saying, all different types of difficult people. So with schools, you find bullies. They can be seen as very, very difficult. You know, they go to the class, they want to be either the class clown, or they want to, you know, they want to pick on someone in class because they look different or they talk different, or, you know. So there's bullies. I mean, school.
If you're talking about bullies, you're probably talking about people who haven't really got to a place of self-acceptance. And, you know, like, people who are miserable want to make people miserable. So that's you know, if that person's hurting and they can't express it or articulate it, a lot of people express it through anger. So when they're dealing with, you know, they're not, you know, self-accepting, or they're having a difficult time with something, it's a lot easier to lash out than to have to face and deal with whatever the situation is that's making them feel inadequate, unimportant, whatever the situation is. But, you know, even though some people have, there's never a good excuse to be a difficult person, but some people will have legit reasons for why they're acting out in a certain way and they can't express themselves. But on the flip side, a lot of people are, for whatever reason, difficult because it somehow serves the way they want to behave.
Yes.
You know, some people use what they've been through, what their history is, or something that they're dealing with. They use it as an excuse to be terrible to other people, and that is the worst type of difficult person. You know, some people
because it
don't
comes
mean,
on even stronger.
Yeah, some people don't mean to hurt whoever they hurt, but then you've got the few that kind of use their anger to serve their purpose, to just be nasty. And those are the types of difficult people we're talking about today. It's not the people that, you know, everyone goes through pain, everyone goes through hurt, and we deal with it in different ways, but it's talking about the difficult people who use their sense of entitlement or power
acknowledging
to be terrible to other people. And how do we overcome, and how do we move on, how do we keep our sense of peace and our happiness when we're forced to deal with people like that? So how?
'Cause that's like, I think ultimately it's a lot to do with patience. Patience with difficult people can be a real big task at hand, but patience teaches you how to stop and to try and understand to a certain extent that person's where that person is coming from. But patience also is about kind of slowing down and just waiting for that change to happen. Sometimes you have to be patient for other people's growth. You can't rush them. You can't make them not difficult tomorrow just because you don't like the way that they're, you know, projecting themselves to others or to you. You have to. So I think patience is definitely one. But what else?
I think it depends what your situation is. I feel like if you're dealing with someone difficult, whether it be in the workplace or in your personal life, you really have to measure the importance of what that situation is.
So sometimes
sometimes you're gonna have to remove yourself from that environment or that situation for your own peace of mind, for your own well-being, because I think sometimes we're too quick to disregard how we feel, downplay how we feel, trivialize how we feel, because we feel like we have to stay in this situation and this environment for whatever reason. Oh, I need to pay my bills, or if this partnership doesn't work, then my business goes down the drain. Whatever the situation is, I think we've become too accustomed, and our culture now is to disregard our health, to disregard our mental health and our well-being, and in the long run, that is far more damaging than losing a business, losing a job, losing something else. You have to choose yourself over the environment and the situation that you're in if it's a danger to your mental health. Because right now, it's like people are catching anxiety and depression like flu now. So, it's like a cold.
You know how I was talking about patience? I think, like you said, it really does depend on the scenario, because some people, for example, they stay in work for many years and they may have like a boss or something that treats them really bad because they're getting pressure from someone higher up. But I don't think you should be patient in that circumstance. I think you should definitely take yourself out of the equation, because if it's going to destroy your own self-worth and you think that you deserve to be treated that way, and that you're going to stay there because you're getting the money, or because you know you have a really good friend but the boss is not treating you so nice, I think you definitely should take yourself out of that scenario, because you're damaging, like you said, you're damaging your own well-being. And why sacrifice your own happiness when that person is going to work, they go home, they feel fine. So I think a lot of circumstances you may have to remove yourself, and that may involve not seeing someone, having to love them from afar. Some difficult people, we have to love them from afar, because unfortunately their growth is not,
you might not be on the same level of growth.
You're not seeing that growth, so you may have to take yourself out of the equation and continue to do what you're doing and let them continue to do what they're doing. So you got to really measure. You got to be able to measure your own health and well-being against whatever situation that you're being put in, because especially if it's on a daily basis, if you're constantly being put in this environment, like if you have to go to work every day
that has all sorts of implications. Like before you even get to work, you're dealing with anxiety, you're dealing with panic, you might feel depressed, low self-worth. All these things are happening just because now it's the next day and you have to go to work. So many people, you know, as soon as it hits Sunday, all the morale is just sucked out, all the energy is sucked out of them, because there is nothing about Monday that means anything but torture. Having to go to a job or a workplace that you don't like, especially if you have to deal with someone who's constantly over your shoulder or bullying you or making you feel inadequate in your position.
And the worst thing is about that is that if you feel you can't remove yourself, I think that's sad, because when some people find themselves in a situation and they feel they actually don't have the power to take themselves out of it, and you know, they feel they in a way deserve it, because if you knew that you didn't deserve it, then you wouldn't be there. You wouldn't continue to keep going back to work and like you said, feeling that anxiety on a Sunday, like you've had the most amazing weekend, but then as soon as it gets to Sunday night, you remember, oh, I've got to wash my work clothes, oh, I've got to prepare for this, oh, I've got to do this presentation, and you feel all these emotions start coming back, whereas before, a couple of days ago, you didn't feel that way. But when you're at work on a Friday, you can't wait to go and do something else because you hate it there. You hate it there. So why stay in a workplace where there are difficult people don't, you know, treat you the way you deserve to be treated? Those are difficult people. But also you're being difficult because you're not leaving. You're being difficult. I think you're being harsh on you're being bad to yourself.
We get too used to creating excuses for why we can't leave. Like, oh, I've got to pay this bill, or if I leave then this happens or that happens. And really what you do when you make excuses is you're just disempowering yourself. You're removing your choices, because there is always a choice, and every decision you make or don't make there's going to be a consequence anyway. So you might as well choose something that you think in the long run is going to benefit your health and well-being. And that, you know, it's difficult to find a job, yes, this is true, but it depends how much you're willing to sacrifice to dedicate to finding another job that you want to be in, or, you know, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to change your circumstance, to change your environment? That's really where people get stuck, because they don't want to, you know, once I make a decision, I now have to take action. So a lot of people like to wallow in limbo and stay in this undecided position, because being passive that way, they don't have to make any decisions. But while you're not making decisions, your life is still moving and people around you are still coming and going. So rather take a risk and do something that you think is going to benefit you in the long run, than to stay somewhere where you feel like, although it's hurting you, it's a hurt that you're used to, and it's a hurt you've become accustomed to and can take for a little bit longer. You know, and be like, oh, you know, I'm used to it, so I might as well stay. Well, no, not really. You're
sacrificing your own happiness, which is never a good thing to do. But I was going to say,
and then you might become that difficult person that starts sacrificing other people's happiness.
Yeah, that's true. But I was going to say, like, you know, when you, for example, you know, I've had experiences where I've had someone that is difficult in my life, like, you know, and we basically had a break from each other, and it's been 10 times better when you come back together, because you both have had time to think about why you guys have been separated in the first place, which is because you guys basically wasn't seeing eye to eye. So I think it's really important for space. If someone's being difficult, just take some space from them, and you will do self-evaluation. You will evaluate their behaviour also. You will decide whether you want to be a part of it as well. You will decide if you want to go back to that environment, that behaviour, and to that person, but not to be with that person constantly and having to deal with it. It doesn't give you time to think. So I think with space, it gives you time to evaluate where you guys really are. So yeah, but as of now, to be honest, I don't really have much people in my life that are difficult, but we do have our moments when we're difficult. Like when Shell said at the end of the last video, she was like, oh, you're difficult, and I was kind of like, no, I'm not. But I can be difficult. Everyone has those days. I'm not a difficult person. I think there's a big difference as well, isn't it? But there's a big difference.
Everyone has their days where they're stubborn and they dig their heels in.
Yeah.
But some people it's become a part of their character, and it's become a part of their personality, and that is how they function, and that is what they are constantly projecting. Is that. So, you know, for me, it's very hard, because we're in a difficult situation right now, dealing with, you know, trying to protect some of our work, but the only way to really move forward is to not let that person steal your joy. It's easier said than done, but it takes a lot of practice, and it takes that self-talk to keep reminding yourself, I'm not gonna let this person steal my joy. I'm not gonna let this person make me feel powerless. So no matter how difficult the situation gets, you have to remember your own power in that situation. You have power too. You have choices, and I would say you have to have conviction. You need to be able to stand up for yourself. You need to have enough self-respect. That's another thing, actually. Yeah, you need to have enough respect for yourself to stand up for yourself in a difficult situation.
Because difficult people and difficult situations are a lot to do with conflict. So it's going to be a back and forth, because someone might always disagree with you. So like you said, like, you got to be able to stand up for yourself and stand in your truth, stand in what you think is right. And from when you're there, you should be pretty okay. Like, that's why, to be honest, I like, you know, there's nothing better than, I mean, not everything is flowers and not everything is great all the time, but I like where my head is at, because a lot of the time, whenever I go through things or there's someone difficult, I'm always like, yeah, but there's always a way around this, you know. Even though
be solution focused, not problem focused.
Can you say that again?
Be solution focused and not problem focused.
Thank you. That is how
when
I am.
Answers will come to you, because I remember when we first got into this conflict that we're in, that I spoke to the universe and I said, show me like what I'm supposed to do. Show me how to move forward. Show me
the path I need to be on to get through this.
And the 4 words that immediately, you know, manifested in my mind was conviction, it was passion, it was compassion, and the last one was courage. And I've been reminding myself that every day. Every day I say to my head, right, today,
keep these 4 words in your head.
This is my intent today. I'm going to be using these 4 words in everything that I do. I'm going to have courage, I'm going to have conviction, I'm going to be passionate, and I'm going to be compassionate.
And I love to hear things like that. It's like, okay, now we can move forward. But if we're just stuck in, everyone has their moments. Again, there's difficult people, there's not difficult, but everyone has their moments, and it's about conquering it. It's always about conquering it. You know, there's so much things going on in the world, but there's always a way to change it. You know, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, you can always change it. So I like that. And you have those 4 words, kind of, you're trying to ingrain it.
I'm trying to ingrain it so it becomes a part of me and not just something that I say. I want it to be a part of my character and how I move, how I carry myself with those 4 words. And I think if you can have compassion for someone, even when they're hurting you, even when they're doing something that is utterly wrong, if you can have compassion for them, you take their power. You take the power that they think they have over you, because I'm still going to work on forgiving you no matter what you think that you're doing to me. I'm not going to allow you to take one semblance of my good nature and turn it dark and have me feeling a certain way about this person or talking a certain way about this person. You can't have that. You have to be able to be that. Like, you can't have that.
I was going to say, that's like one of the best weapons that you can have against difficult people. Just staying true to yourself. Being like, if you know you're a kind person and someone does something really bad to you, don't be bad to them.
Just because they're rolling around in the mud doesn't mean you have to get in. You can step right over them.
And again, we speak not from a place of being perfect. We do these things as well, but we're on a journey of, you know, using tools and skills in order to get better at practicing it every day. That's why Cheryl was saying
cultivation all the time.
That's what you're talking about, keeping these 4 words in your head, keeping them in your head all the time, because from when you have it in your head,
so that I stay, you know, righteous in that sense. You stay righteous in that sense, because it's like you don't have to stoop to their level. You don't have to go in every you know, lunchroom and gossip about this person that is making your life difficult. It's not about sharing it so that other people can agree with you and validate how you feel. It's about you validating how you feel and protecting how you feel, by having that conviction of, even if this person's your boss, that doesn't mean that somewhere in your contract it says they can talk to you like shit.
No.
So you can even go to your boss and be like, I won't be spoken to like that just because you write my checks.
Do you know how much
you have to be able to have that kind of courage, because you deserve it.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to protect you if you don't protect yourself?
And courage is a big leap, especially like a lot of people go through those exact scenarios where they have their boss treating them like absolute crap from the bottom of their shoe, like literally, and the people, they still stay there. But it's because it's about building that courage inside of you that is already there. Those things are already there. You just need to tap into that so that you can use those skills to basically face those people in your life. Because you can't really have that much difficult people in your life and not having those skills.
Difficult people teach you how to be a good person.
Yeah. Really
difficult people teach you how to be a good person, because when you see certain behaviours that are ugly and it makes you react in that way of, I don't like that, I don't like the way that feels, of being on the receiving end, it makes you more self-aware and
I don't want to act like
how you treat other people. And if you treat other people, like, I like to put into the universe what I want to receive back, what I want reflected to me. I don't want to be surrounded by nasty people. I want to be surrounded by people who are compassionate, who are forgiving, who are creative, who are courageous. That's the kind of people that you want. And in order to attract that kind of energy,
you've got to be that person.
You first have to cultivate that energy and put it out there.
Yeah.
And then you're going to attract, your vibe attracts your tribe. That saying, your vibe attracts your tribe.
I think that's what it sounds like. That's what it's meant to be.
The reason why you have to dedicate time and effort into being that type of person is because you're never not going to be faced with difficult situations and difficult people. You're always going to find, and actually the more content you get, and the more peaceful you get, and the more happy you get, the more people that will test it, the more people and situations that will come into your life to see, are you about what you just said you was about? Because we've tested straight away. Like, as soon as we're gonna have a good year, all of a sudden it's like all these obstacles started coming.
It was tested,
and it was like a test straight away. Like, oh really? Let's see if you can keep your word and have that integrity and project yourself the way you said that you were going to project yourself. So you will be tested. The harder you work to achieve the things that you want, is the more balls that are going to be battered at you.
Yeah, but it would be easier to deflect those kind of people, and it would be easier to sail through those difficult situations as well, because difficult people bring on difficult situations. Let's not forget that either.
Yes.
And it makes life kind of go a little bit upside down. But once you have those skills of courage and patience, and you stay true to yourself, you're going to be able to conquer those people. You're going to be able to conquer those people, those types of people.
And if you practice what you preach, if you cultivate your values, what you believe in, whether it be family, whether it be collaboration, creativity, whatever your values are, once you stand solid in your values, not only will people eliminate themselves, you'll feel no way to eliminate people that don't align with what your belief is. Yes. You'll feel no way to eliminate them. And a lot of them will eliminate themselves if they don't like what you're about.
They're like, oh no, she's changing, and they'll
precisely.
Anyway, so,
but if you're solid in your views and your beliefs, anyone that doesn't align with that, you're not really going to be having any time for that, because that disrupts what you're trying to achieve. That disrupts the direction you're trying to go in. And if you're really serious and you're really passionate about wanting to go in the direction you're going, you're not going to let anyone come and jeopardize that.
Yeah, or steal your shine, because a lot of the time they
try.
So let difficult people want you to be nasty.
Yeah, they try and engage you. They try and engage you to be how they are, to validate how they are and who they are. Yeah. So they want to drag you to their level so that they think, see, it's not just me. Yeah. The only way is to be above that. Don't allow anyone to take from you what takes so long to cultivate in the first place. Very hard to have self-acceptance, very hard to have courage when you're terrified and would rather just walk away. I'm not someone that likes conflict. I don't like conflict, but if I'm faced with it, I'm like a cat.
That's just what
I'm
it
like
is.
a cat. I'm just gonna go crazy because you know if I'm in a panic state, I feel like my back's against the wall. I'm gonna do whatever it takes so that you don't win one over on me.
But in saying that, when you refer to yourself as like a cat, people are gonna think straight like that. Yeah.
No, not catty.
But because you're speaking about it, that is self-awareness, and it's that's self-awareness. So you can be thinking, okay, next time when I go in there, they're not gonna do this to me. They're not gonna make me feel that way. So
that's what I'm saying. Difficult people teach you lessons.
Yeah.
So in a sense, not that you have to keep them in your life, but embrace the situation that you're in. Let it teach you what it needs to teach you. Be open to what it needs to teach you.
Yeah.
And then be like, no more with that.
No more. I'm wiping my hands.
No more with that. But every situation that you're put in is a test of your character and your will, and it's a lesson. Whether it's teaching you to be courageous, whether it's teaching you when to back down, whether it's teaching you to be patient, be forgiving. There are lessons in everything that we do, and when you're not open to those lessons, they become repetitive. Because it's like, well, if I have to knock your head against a brick wall, that's what I'm going to do until you learn that lesson. So, the more open you are to receiving messages, then you only have to deal with certain things once, twice, and never again.
Yeah, true. So high five for that, child. Yes. So guys, I thank you. Like, if you got this far, if you got all the way to the end, then I thank you, because we started off a little bit slow today. Because we got a bit of we've got things coming. We didn't get good news. We didn't get good news today. We didn't get good news, and we was trying to skirt around.
And we was trying to find a way to but to be honest, emerge from that.
Actually, it works with what we were talking about. So seriously, use these things that we're talking about and try and conquer those difficult people in your life, because we're currently trying to do that. We're not going to let that person bring us down. But thank you for getting this far. Stay tuned for the next video. It's going to be about kind of how to become self-aware, healing from past issues, and also a little bit about how you can cultivate happiness. So that's going to be the last part of the series. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this video, and Shells came along again. She's very... girl, she was saying some stuff, but thank you guys so much. We hope we could have been your eternal sunshine for today. Thank you.
And also comment and create discussions and get involved, and you might have other ideas.
This is what I need her here, because I always forget. Like, subscribe and share this video, and that's it. Okay, bye.